Hello, brilliant people. This is Jobert Bergaza, and welcome to Jobber Talks. In today's conversation, I believe if one is about to go to another country or one is planning to work abroad in the future, it could be this year or in 2025. This video is so important for you to watch because if you're going to open your social media accounts today, you can find so many videos from Filipino people living and working in another country, posting positive videos about their experiences and new things that they encountered in that particular country. Yeah, I think you would agree with me with this kind of reality right now. But in this video, I will touch the other side of reality because I want you to be ready, okay? Because in the normal way, you will certainly be culture shocked with this kind of reality in another country. So here we go. Now, our topic for this morning is all about major challenges of working abroad. Wow, you have to understand this one very carefully so that you can have your plan with you. How are you going to conquer this reality in another country? Okay, so first things first, let's talk about cultural adjustment. I think the word culture is not new to you. When we talk about culture, it has something to do with the ways of life, kind of lifestyle of a certain group of people, right? So, for instance, you're living in the Philippines for 25 years or 30 years. So, you developed that certain culture, that certain lifestyle back in the Philippines, right? Now, after 30 years, you decided to move to another country, and you know that that certain country has unique culture or lifestyle, okay? But because you are foreigner to that country, you have to adjust. Okay? You need to change your perspectives. You need to change your lifestyle in order to fit into the new country that you are now working. That's very important. So, cultural adjustment is so important to be understood. Now, in line with this particular subtopic, there are things to be unraveled. Okay, we need to understand first of all the language barrier. Very important to be understood. Now, this is the reason why we can say, as to the data we can find, a lot of Filipino teachers wants to go to United States of America and work, right? Because of the language. English is not new to Filipino people. So it's not difficult for Filipino teacher to stay and work in the United States of America because conversation, communication is not difficult to be done. Now, what if you want to work in Asia? For instance, Japan, Taiwan, Thailand, Vietnam, wherein they're speaking different language. Okay, most of the locals cannot speak English. So it's the language barrier that you need to be prepared about. Because, it's really hard to communicate. For example, here in Taiwan, some people here cannot speak English. So you really have to use your phone and translate all the words before you can do the conversation. Okay? So kind of challenging at some point, but you can handle the one in the future. Okay? So things that you need to remember. Next, communication style. The way you talk to your colleagues, for example, the way you talk to your students, for example, the way you talk to the natives, the locals in that particular country, you really need to understand as well. You need to learn. For instance, every time you talk to your colleagues in the Philippines, it's okay to shout, it's okay to laugh, it's okay to do something like this. But here, for instance, in Taiwan, there's a different way to talk to them Okay, so you really need to adjust yourself about that one. So, things that you have to think about. Next, the feelings of isolation. I think this is so common. When we talk about isolation, like most of the time in another country, you will be working alone. You'll be staying in one apartment, for example, or one room by yourself. Okay, especially in Taiwan, I'm talking with the country Taiwan. We're in one country, one foreign teacher. That's the normal here. So you cannot talk to Filipino teachers. You cannot talk to other foreign teachers in Taiwan most of the time because you are working with the locals, and most of the locals, they don't want to talk English. So it's hard for you to start the conversation. But it depends upon the area, okay? Because if you're working in like Taipei, New Taipei City, wherein most of the teachers here can really talk English, so kind of not difficult for you to deliver or start a conversation. Yeah, it depends upon the area. But let's go back to the feelings of isolation. Most of the time, you are alone. So if you're a kind of person back in the country that used to deal with big crowds, squads, or circles, you cannot really work something without your friends. Now, I would like to tell you, it's really hard for you to adjust here. It's really hard for you to deal things in another country because most of the time you are alone. And at some point, as part of a warning, it's also not good to make friends with fellow Filipinos in another country. There's something, a big story behind that. I'm going to tell you in another video, but this time that's not our focus, okay? So, here in another country, quantity is, not really the thing that you have to develop. It's a quality of friends that you need to find in another country. That's my sort of advice to you if you're new here. If you are a first time OFW, okay, to work in a certain country. So you have to prepare feelings of isolation, okay? But me, myself, if I'm going to tell you my experience, it's not hard for me to deal with this one feelings of isolation because back in the country I used to work alone. Okay, I don't want to show myself to big crowds. I don't want to have a lot of friends. No, I only pick people that I feel like I can talk to and I can trust 100%. So that's the reality of my life. So it's not hard for me to to adjust from my lifestyle in the Philippines and here in Taiwan. Let's go to number two. There's a second one: homesickness and loneliness. Now, I would like to connect this idea to the separation anxiety. You have to be mindful with this kind of idea. It's really hard to go away from your family, especially if it's your first time. You will cry for no reason. You don't know why is it you have to cry? Something like that you need to prepare. But that's only for about like 3 months to 6 months. After that, you will surely recover from that concept of separation anxiety. So don't worry about that one. But that's reality, okay? You will feel sad about like watching photos and videos, your family back in the Philippines, they're enjoying, and here you are in Taiwan, in America, you're struggling to survive every day, and no one can understand that except yourself. So be ready, okay? Now, aside from that, in connection to number two, the concept of support system is limited in another country. Now, I think you know the setup, right? You are living alone. Unlike in the Philippines, you're living with your mom, your father, your siblings, your other relatives. You're living in one compound. For example, every time you encounter problem, you can call any one of those people, right? But here, no. Support system is indeed limited. You cannot call immediately people. I mean, you have your colleagues with you, but of course, they also have their problems to attend to. So you cannot, think about them most of the time. So the thing that will happen is you have to fight for the problem. For example, health problem, go to the doctor, see the doctor, check for yourself. Yeah, so that's the reality here. So if you are ready to face all of these things that I mentioned to you, Welcome to the world of OFW.